We're based in Silicon Valley. We are funded by Foundation Capital and Delta Capital. By the way, we are hiring for all engineering, marketing, sales, anything. And maybe there is a possibility of us creating a satellite office somewhere here if things go well with John and the team. The problem that we are trying to solve is there has been tremendous innovation in the infrastructure space in the last 20 years. And the levels of automation has created tremendous efficiencies. What it used to take months and many, many people, now one person can do it within minutes with single click or with few lines of code. That has been the boon. But that has also created a level of risk. Like the same one person with few lines of code can also destroy the whole thing. This is like that nuclear technology. You can use it for power, and also you can use it for a lot of other things. I mean, that may be an extreme example. This one-line script can literally wipe out all your virtual machines if you're running VMware. Or it is equally simple to do the same thing in AWS or Azure or Google Cloud or any of these things. What could happen if somebody with that kind of power, if some account with that kind of power gets into the wrong hands, if the credentials are compromised, or if that account becomes malicious? I mean, these accounts not necessarily human accounts. You have bots, you have service accounts, you have all kinds of things that exist in the enterprise today. And accidents could happen too. The risk with infrastructure is very, very high because infrastructure powers every aspect of your business. There was a company called CodeSpaces that was in business for 7 years with hundreds of customers, like Oracle, Macy's, FedEx, TIBCO, and those are the kinds of customers that they had. They had redundancy, primary backup, secondary backup, and all these safeguards in place with following security best practices and all that kind of stuff. One of the hackers got hold of one of their administrators' credentials through simple phishing. He demanded ransom. By the time the company could act on it, in 12 hours, he wiped out their entire infrastructure clean, and the company went out of business. That is the risk, worst case scenario, when it comes to infrastructure. If it is one application or if it is some data, you could recover. But when your entire infrastructure that is powering your entire operations is gone, this is what could happen. Verizon publishes their annual DBIR report, and this is one of the most popular ones in the industry. They analyze millions of security incidents. They say that 81% of the incidents involve some sort of compromised credentials. If this happens to your infrastructure, imagine the repercussions. Knox has been founded to help address those problems, to help the customers with this in a hybrid or a multi-cloud scenario, whether you're running on-prem VMware or AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, anything. Let me quickly get into the demo. Please feel free to interrupt and ask me if you have any questions at any point in time, and please let me know what you think about the solution too. I won't get offended with anything that you say, as long as it is not personally directed at me. So it's a SaaS application. So basically what we do is, how many identities can touch your infrastructure? What kind of entitlements do those identities have? What is it that they're actually, what do they actually need? What are they actually using? What can you do about minimizing the risk? So typically when you log in, let's say we have we have 5 AWS accounts on 1 Azure and 1 vCenter, 1 VMware environment. Let me look at, in our VMware environment, our risk score shows us 88. What does that mean? That means I have so many accounts that have administrative privileges within my VMware environment. They are not using any, 80% of their high-risk privileges that they are given to them. Quite simply, I can go to the list of that and see, out of the 15 accounts that are provisioned in our account, in our VMware data center, 7 of them are inactive. And this is completely based on the activity that they have been doing on a daily basis. We are a small startup, and we have deployed with a big online auction company, multi-billion-dollar online auction company. Every customer that we have seen, they see at least 50% of these inactive accounts. Typically, what happens is, today when you provision, the provisioning happens by way of some sort of a role. John Doe joins the corporation, you give him, he's part of the administrator role. What does he actually do on his day-to-day basis? Especially on the infrastructure side, there are so many things. There are so many creates, there are so many destroy, there are so many update configurations and all those things. But once the systems are in production, you rarely do any destroy. You rarely do, I mean, occasionally you may do some configuration updates, but that's the extent of it. In the name of automation, I was at VMware a few years ago. I was also one of the culprits who created, for every create, you should have destroy. So I was part of the team that created those kinds of things as well. When you are an admin, you get everything. Create, destroy, everything. But rarely you use those destroy functions. That's exactly what happened with code spaces. The guy was an administrator. He had an admin role, even though he doesn't need all the destroy things. Role-based access control. He's an admin. Give him everything. And as soon as the hacker got hold of it, he got to go to town with it. So here, what we do is we provide that level of insights in terms of how many accounts that exist, how many accounts that are active. What are they actually doing? Like, let me look. This is Balaji. He has the ability to destroy a storage cluster, destroy a data center, destroy a network switch, all those kinds of things, all the destroy functions. But if you look at what is he actually doing to perform his day-to-day job, those are the 4 things. This level of simplicity across any infrastructure today, it's almost, you need to have a PhD in computer science to get to this level. And we give you the ability to right-size all this visibility, and you have the ability, with our controller technology, you have the ability to right-size all these things. The click of a button, you say, hey, he has all these 4. He's been using these 4, just give him those 4. With the click of a button, you have the ability to do that. And second thing that I wanted to highlight is audit trail. How many times have you looked for, okay, I needed to have this report on a weekly basis. I want to see how many VMs are created, how many things are destroyed, how many things are updated on a weekly basis across my entire infrastructure. This is a simple click of a button. So we have AWS, Azure, NSX, vSphere, and all. So you simply select whatever you want, and you can go to 90 days, 7 days, or a custom date range, or any of these kinds of things. Click of a button without having to write a single script. And you can save all these things, and you can schedule these reports so that every Monday morning you have it on your desk, in your inbox. A lot of the times, in the infrastructure, when something happens, there are 3 dimensions involved. Some user account performing some action on some resource. Today, if we want to find something, we simply go to Google and start typing. We don't even have to worry about what is the exact phrase, what is the spelling, and all those kinds of things. But when you're trying to find out exactly the same thing within your own infrastructure, there are not many tools out there that can provide you that level of usability. With our Explorer, this gives you the ability to find out anything and everything happen. Like, for example, let me try to find destroy. When I start typing destroy, I can see these are all the destroy functions that are available in my VMware environment. Every customer deployment that we do, we go, and the customers will say, I didn't even know that we had so many destroy capabilities for an administrator. A lot of them, you select any of them, you see empty, except for maybe virtual machine destroy. When you click on this gives you the complete visibility into how many virtual machines have been destroyed by who and what time and all those kinds of things. And here, it shows you in a chronological order. And also, it gives you how many users have actually done it. How many users have that capability. You can get into all those kinds of details. And not only this task, let's say I want to look for, I want to see what a local administrator has been doing. I can simply start typing ADM, and it shows all the accounts that exist with the ADM name in it. Let's say I selected administrator. It gives you complete picture in terms of when was he logged in, what kind of IP addresses that he logged in from, what kind of clients that he used, what kind of activity that he has done. Does he have any cron jobs? Yes.
So in your implementation here,
Mm-hmm.
when you have a client,
Mm-hmm.
do you implement it on his own network, or is this your own website and he logs into your website?
The solution is it's a SaaS solution
So it's in the cloud.
in the cloud. And when you do the deployment, every deployment requires deploying a virtual appliance in your own deployment. So
So if someone hacks this, he has a lot of information if he hacks you.
yes, when somebody gets into this, they can get access to this. But access to this is controlled by you by integrating with your own SSO provider, with your own thing.
It's the same secure risk as with the code spaces. If someone gets the administrator, it's the same security.
Yes. In code spaces, it's like whatever you are doing for protecting your own infrastructure today, since it is completely in your control, even though it is hosted on Knox as a SaaS model, data at rest and data in transit is all encrypted. And you control which users have access to your part of the infrastructure. Not even Knox has access to that. And we integrate with your multi-factor authentication or SSO or your own Active Directory or anything like that. And here, you get pretty much all the details. I search for a user. I know all the details of when he logged in, what kind of clients, and what kind of IP addresses. I can also look at all the list of all the IP addresses that he has ever used. I can simply look at all the IP addresses, and then you can see all the IP address locations and all these kinds of things. And we can also look at what kind of cron jobs that the user has, and when was it created, when was it last executed, and all these kinds of things. This, with single solution, you have this complete visibility into any cloud infrastructure that you're using. Yes?
So does it have some smarts where if somebody types in one of the dangerous commands that you listed up front, that it's smart enough to detect that and require verification before continuing?
Yes. So the way the question is, does the system allow somebody to put in multi-factor authentication if somebody is trying to do some high-risk function? To begin with, what we tell customers is eliminate all the high-risk privileges to begin with. And if they need something that they need to do, let's say if they're trying to destroy a data store, let them request through a self-service portal. At the time of putting that request, ask for a multi-factor authentication. When that happens, you are in that preventive mode. You're not reacting after the fact.
No, excuse me.
Yes.
But if you do that, why do you need that?
I'm sorry, can you say?
If you do,
Uh-huh.
exactly like you said that, we take the risk of managing the high-risk workflows, right, and putting the multi-factor.
Yes. So the question is, if, as a customer, if I take care of managing or revoking and granting all these high-risk privileges, do I need cloud logs? Absolutely not. What we do is, it is so complicated, we make it super simple for you to do this. It's a multi-step process, even to just do a simple grant or revoke. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Even if you do this, you still need a process to go and manage it, right? But if you have that process, you're saying you won't need this. But with this, you say make it simple, but you still have to do it.
See, the thing is, here, the system will look at the activity of every identity that is happening. And at that point, the system will say, hey, when I showed the demo, Balaji has these many high-risk privileges, but he's only using these 4. Click a button to minimize that. If we go into fully automated mode, the system is automatically adjusting his privileges. Balaji, at every day 9 a.m., he does these 5 things. Every Saturday at 10 p.m., he does these 2 extra things. The system will automatically adjust. 9 a.m., grant him all these 5 extra things. Saturday at 10 p.m., give him these two more things. The system is, when it is running in auto mode, there is no manual intervention. And the way that these controls are implemented in AWS and Azure and VMware, they're completely different. If you have to do that manually, I'll give you a simple scenario. At VMware, 2,000 functions, even if you're running 100 virtual machines, the combinations could run into hundreds of thousands. Can somebody do it manually? Sure. How much time would it take? That's what we're trying to minimize. That's what we're trying to eliminate.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.